Right in the middle of modern-day Lopburi, Thailand, sits a massive stone sanctuary called Pra Prong Sam Yot. If you pull up a map today, these coordinates are strictly Thai soil. But anyone looking at the unmistakable laterite towers and intricate carvings will immediately recognize the architecture as Cambodian. Yet, if you ask local officials, they'll classify it under a different name entirely, Khmer. Curious? Here is where the historical record gets blurry. We have thousands of ancient inscriptions carved into stone across Cambodia, but the people who built these monumental structures never once used the word Khmer to describe themselves. So if the original architects didn't use the term, who exactly are we talking about? And why do Thai historians use this specific label to lay claim to the history of these structures? The confusion stems from a simple geographical error. We are trying to solve a 1,000-year-old mystery about human identity by forcing it through the rigid, artificially drawn lines of a modern political map. This antique map of the East India Isles shows the region sliced into distinct territories: Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. These bold dividing lines are anachronisms of Western mapmaking. A millennium ago, countries didn't exist here. Erasing those borders reveals how the region actually functioned. Ancient populations didn't care about invisible national boundaries. They cared about survival. Communities moved freely across the landscape, settling strictly based on where the soil was fertile and following the lifeblood of the region, its river systems. This mobility defined the actual footprint of the ancient Khmer civilization. Their influence formed a continuous fluid zone stretching from Lavo, which we now call Lopburi in Thailand, all the way down to the city of Angkor in modern-day Siem Reap, Cambodia. As these people migrated to better agricultural lands, they didn't leave their culture behind. They carried their religion, their daily routines, and their architectural genius with them. Because they settled wherever nature provided, our modern borderlines are entirely irrelevant to tracking their true historical footprint. This brings us back to the core labeling problem. Khmer and Khmer are not interchangeable terms. They represent entirely different ethnic groupings that existed in different eras. You will only find the word Khmer in the historical documents of Thailand. It is a strictly Thai-designated term, completely absent from indigenous Cambodian texts. Linguistically, it's highly probable that Khmer is a corruption of the phrase Khmer Krom, which translates to Lower Khmer. You can see those specific linguistic roots still active today in regional identities. Contrast that Thai invention with the primary source evidence. The people who built these monuments clearly identified themselves as the Khmer, a fact they quite literally carved into their own walls. Slapping the label Khmer onto these builders is a historical projection. It mislabels their true identity, obscures their origins, and forces an ancient people into a modern linguistic box they never belonged in. This brings us back to the stones themselves. These monumental sanctuaries, known as prasats, were commissioned and patronized by ancient kings who ruled a vast interconnected landscape. For decades, art historians looked at the prasats inside Thailand's borders and labeled them Lopburi art. They categorized the architecture based solely on the modern dirt it happened to be standing on. Today, historians are correcting that taxonomy. They rightfully classify these structures as Khmer or Khmer art, choosing to prioritize the ancestral and ethnic origin of the builders rather than the modern zip code. We are so used to seeing Southeast Asia as a puzzle of neatly divided nations, but the stones offer a unified, monumental reality that predates those divisions by centuries. Projecting our modern nationalism onto ancient ruins blinds us to the actual history of the region. These sanctuaries, scattered across 2 modern countries, don't belong to a map drawn in the 20th century. They are the surviving remnants of a borderless world.